Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm Akeem Watson, and in today's fix, Sony acquires Bluepoint Games, the voice of Kratos shares why Ragnarok was delayed to next year, and a collection of remastered GTA games might be headed our way very soon. Let's drop it. Sony Interactive Entertainment just landed a pretty solid acquisition in Bluepoint Games, the developers that brought us the Shadow of the Colossus remake on PS4 and the PS5 remake of Demon's Souls. Now, this news follows Bluepoint's Demon's Souls selling more than 1.4 million copies since release. They are definitely having quite the week. Now, we here at IGN spoke with PlayStation Studios head Hermen Hulst and Bluepoint president Thrush to learn a bit more about the acquisition and overall strategy, with Thrush giving us a little insight on what's next for the studio. And here's a hint: it's not another remake. Thrush told us, quote, "Our next project, we're working on original content right now. We can't talk about what that is, but that's the next step in the evolution for us. The transition from remasters to remakes was to test ourselves and push ourselves harder for the next step. We have that original game development mindset in our hearts, and that's what we're now finally ready with the support of Sony to push forward and show what we can do and show what PlayStation can do." Thrush also spoke to the amount of experience the team at Bluepoint have in game development, stating that most working there have about 15 years in the business and come from original game development. So essentially, their experience in game dev extends far outside the scope of remaking a pre-existing game, and with the backing of PlayStation, we'll get to see what original stories the studio can spin up. Now, while the studio has a surprisingly quick turnaround with these remakes and remasters, don't expect that from their original game. Thrush mentioned to us how Bluepoint was fortunate to basically get handed the blueprints of the original games with the remakes and remasters they worked on, where they were just tasked with adding polish to said games. With original game development, he mentions how they'll be laying out the blueprint for themselves, so it'll obviously take them longer than any of the remakes and remasters they've worked on. With more resources coming from PlayStation, Bluepoint should be able to churn out quality original titles in the near future. On why this latest acquisition occurred and what is expected of these teams, Hermen Hulst said, quote, "They need to be quality oriented. We're not buying teams to just be bigger. We're only buying teams because we feel that together we're going to make something that is going to be even better than if we did it separate from one another." Only time will tell what PlayStation and Bluepoint has in store for us gamers. Now let's wait and see. In other news, would you believe it if I told you Christopher Judge was the reason God of War Ragnarok was delayed to next year? Yeah, well, according to the voice actor himself, that's what happened. Now, the man behind the iconic voice of Kratos since 2018's God of War recently shared a rather heartfelt story to his Twitter followers, explaining that the reason the game was delayed was due to back and knee surgery he underwent, as well as having both his hips replaced. According to Judge, Sony Santa Monica Studio approached him with love and support throughout this time in his life, even waiting for him to complete rehab. He went on to talk about how much heart and soul was poured into the making of the God of War franchise and how the studio sticking by him in his time of need should give us all hope. Now, Judge shared this story with the fans, and honestly, I really think, we all should be very happy that he did. You never know what someone's going through, so it's great to hear he's in both great spirits and health. Love that man, and I'm sure we'll all love God of War Ragnarok when it releases sometime next year. And finally, the South Korean Games Rating Board just slapped a rating on GTA, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. You know what that means, right? Yeah, that means we might be getting remasters of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Yeah, and the crowd, I can hear y'all just screaming with excitement right now. Everyone's so happy we're gonna be playing these old games that we've already played, yeah. The one and only Nabel directed our eyes to the rating when they posted this on Twitter. And according to a Kotaku report from August, these remasters are on their way to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, Stadia, mobile devices, and even the Nintendo Switch. Now, Kotaku also noted that these games were in their final stages of development using a mix of new and old graphics, which lines up with an earlier report of the games being ported over to the Unreal Engine engine. Now, while everything is subject to change, Kotaku's report also stated that the trilogy would be released around late October or early November. So, we might be getting these remasters sooner than you think. Definitely sooner than GTA 6, which we still have no confirmation as to when we can expect that. Only that when it does release, y'all, you'll be able to play it day one on console. That's the only thing I can assure you of. Nothing else. And that about does it for your daily fix. I'm Akeem and thank you all so much for watching. Now that you're all caught up on the news, check out this video on the PlayStation Plus free games coming in October. Download the IGN app on all your devices. Be sure to check out the daily fix on Snapchat, and for all things everything else, keep it locked right here on IGN.